So this is what happens in the supermarket now because of presumably theft, and it seems to happen in two now of the supermarkets that carry the best steaks, pound for pound, kind of affordable. And I do tend to prefer steak to the other cuts of meat that I've tried so far. So that's just unfortunate, I suppose. But now every time I go out with one of their best steaks, the system just defaults to assuming that I've stolen it, and so all the alarms go off as you're going through security, and it's tedious. So I have to make sure that I, show my receipt and show my. I mean, they wave me out all the time. I think they know that I haven't stolen it. But, everybody turns around, I guess, and looks at you and makes sure that, well, I suppose it doesn't matter. But it's an assumption, isn't it, I suppose, that they make. Or it could be a fault. They often say, well, it's a fault, but it seems to persist, so presumably it's a useful fault. Mind you, I mean, their top shelf steak is only, say, £5.50. It's not like the one that I got from Sainsbury the other day, which was £10.50, and worth every penny, I have to say. What a big steak that was. Now can I get out of this car park without fooling myself? Even turning next to a curb, as I'm doing now, I know can be hazardous. Well, this car has reversing sensors, so I can presumably just reverse freely, but that doesn't somehow give me much greater confidence. I'm waiting here because there's a bus in a particularly awkward position when I turn out, and I'm giving him a chance to clear. He's just sitting there like buses sometimes do, don't they, when there's something wrong, perhaps. So, just gonna go. He might be sitting in a useful position in a certain manner of looking at things, I suppose, because he's not, you see, because he's not really shielding me from traffic. As it was perfect, wasn't it? Now I'm going to another centre. Well, to the centre of this village. Birmingham is a collection of villages joined together. They called it a conurbation because it became a city, but I suppose wouldn't the same thing apply to any city? London have been just villages that were gradually incorporated into a larger urban sprawl or centre. This stuff is so Masonic as well, because of course building is very much regulated by the edicts of certain basically secret societies. It's the only issue that I have with them. I mean, I'm sure that they're very nice people and all the rest of it, but it's the secrecy. And this was pursued through, I've followed this case quite carefully, of the attempts made ostensibly through the English legal system to oblige members of Parliament and persons in public positions, I suppose, to oblige them to declare their interests, their participation in the Freemasonry, and they would do it, you know. But unfortunately, of course, it was never passed. They wouldn't do it, I suppose. But there was no intention of doing it, it seemed. And interestingly, Italy was brought to bear as the reason why it would be unsuitable to make that declaration. I might have said this elsewhere. Some kind of mafia-based case. Don't just walk in the road, for heaven's sake. There are places with flashing traffic lights. You know, I don't like ill manners by drivers or cyclists or pedestrians. You know, I don't single out any single group really. They're all as bad as one another, aren't they? You know, I mean, I'm sure that my driving has sometimes been less than courteous. This is what you get here, so thank you very much, mate. I appreciate it. Now I'm going to try and park along the road because I don't like going in. Well, the disadvantage of going in a regular car park, I guess, or a supermarket car park, which is what they are these days, let's face it, is that you have a time limit, and really, you know, you should only be parked there while you're shopping at their supermarket, I suppose. That would be reasonable. No, so he's going to come up now. Oh, that's okay, he can. Tucking the car right into the curb without getting any rim rash. I'm sure it's well out at the moment. This is something that I'm struggling with at the moment. Just manoeuvre, sort of small scale manoeuvres. It's just a question of practice and using the mirror also does seem to be beneficial. But if it's tucked up nicely, then I shall leave it with confidence, you know. I don't like to have it any further out than it needs to be, and it still is a little bit. My parking, honestly, it's like something out of those YouTube videos when they show somebody just going backwards and forwards, you know. Sometimes I have to get back in the car and start it up again when I look in horror at the actual position that the car has assumed, you know. It's like I'm sort of Dada painting. But I'm getting better. I mean, you know, practice makes perfect, so they say. God bless.